Good day, my name is Dr. Julian de Klerk and this is Video Vet. Today we're going to be talking about worms. Worms in livestock can be a serious problem, especially in cultivated pastures or where animals are fed near flays. There are three main types of worms that affect livestock. These are roundworms, tapeworms and flukes. Liver flukes are often a problem in flay areas rather than cultivated pastures, whereas tapeworms and roundworms occur wherever animals are grazing on wet soil or very well-watered areas. If you want to see if your animals are having a problem with worms, the first thing to consider is looking at the animal's condition. If the animal losing weight, gaining weight or staying the same in spite of dietary supplementation. Another important consideration is diarrhea. Worms, especially high worm burdens, can cause diarrhea in both older animals as well as younger animals. When looking at small stock, high worm burdens can cause severe anemia, which will lead to death. The way to establish if an animal has anemia is to look at the mucous membrane color of the eye, as you will see in the demonstrations. We use the 5-point check to determine if an animal is suffering from a high worm burden. The first point is the nose. It is in front of the animal. You want to look for any nasal discharge. A nasal discharge could indicate the presence of nasal bot, in which case you need to kill the bot in order to clear the infection. However, if the animal has a nasal discharge and is coughing, it more likely has lung problems that need a different treatment plan. In this case, you need to speak to your veterinarian. The second point on the 5-point check is the chin. We're looking under the chin for a bottle jaw, which is a soft, jelly-like swelling under the jaw. If there is a bottle jaw, it means that the animal has very low protein due to worms that are actually eating all the protein that the animal is consuming and due to blood loss. The eye. This is where we're going to be looking if the animal has any blood-sucking parasites, such as wireworm. What we do with the eye is we push down on the top and pull down gently on the lower lid. This exposes the mucous membrane on the inside of the eye. With this, we see the color of the mucous membranes to see if the animal has lost a lot of blood due to parasites or not. Now, it's important to note, when exposing this mucous membrane, that you don't expose the third eyelid like this. That's not what you want to be looking for. That color will stay the same irrespective of the animal's condition. When we look at the eye, we're using the Famacha system. This is a scoring to see how anemic the animal is based on its mucous membrane color. So when we open the mucous membrane like that, we look at the bottom of the eyelid over there, and we compare it to the scorecard on the right. This score is about between a 1 and a 2. So she's perfectly healthy and does not need to be dosed. If your animal has a white or almost white coloration like this, you want to consider dosing her against worms, specifically worms that will cause bloodletting or steal blood, such as the wireworm. So the fourth point is the back. This is when we're looking at the animal's condition and seeing how fat or skinny it is. Now we use this area here just behind the ribs. You can see that's where the ribs start, and there's the hips. You feel this section here. If your hands can easily roll under this area, the animal is underweight. You also feel down here on the back of the spine, which makes a tent-like depression if the animal is too skinny. The fatter the animal gets, it rounds out with fat. Okay? So condition-wise, you want to score the animal between 1, which is emaciated or very skinny, and 5, which is obese or very fat. If your hands can roll under, that's around a score of 2.5 to 3, which is a very nice condition. This animal is in perfect condition. She's currently at a 2.5 to 3. If you look at this area over here, it's currently making a slight tent without a depression. That's perfect. The more it bulges out, the fatter the animal is. The fifth point on the 5-point score is around the perineum or tail area. You want to be looking for signs of diarrhea. Animals with high worm burdens tend to have a more wet feces, and you'll find soiling here around the back legs and under the tail. Now ideally, if you find soiling around this section because of diarrhea, you'll have to cut the wool away in order to prevent fly strike. This animal over here doesn't have a diarrhea problem. She's nice and clean. When looking at worm burdens in small stock, especially sheep and goats, one wants to select for animals that are worm resistant. This means that when you are looking at the condition of the animals using the Famacha score and the 5-point check, you want to be recording which animals are showing poor signs of worm tolerance. These animals should eventually be culled from your herd, and only those that are responding well to the worm burdens and actually handling it should be used for breeding. This, in the long term, will breed animals that are worm resistant and more adaptive to the environment.